Allison calling us from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. That's
Hi, how
Bartlesville
are
is
you?
good. Allison, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
In Bartlesville, that's like who was it that was it Texaco or Exxon or one of the big oil companies?
Conoco.
Conoco. I knew it was somebody. I remember when I was in college and there were a lot of people um from Bartlesville down there in Dallas where I went to school. How can I help you?
How do you have a healthy dating relationship without the aspect of sex until marriage? Aim to communicate that not as an ultimatum, but a boundary.
Well, if you couldn't, then that would mean that dating equals sex, and dating is much more than just sex. And so,
Yes.
there's like a whole world. It's a process of getting to know somebody. So, um, when you say, "How can you have one?" With that, what's the problem? You start to date, and some guy wants to have sex with you, and you say, "No, I'm saving that for marriage," and then they disappear. Is that?
Uh, well, here's my thing. I hadn't felt convicted about that till recently, and I want to do things God's way. So I've had a heart
Oh,
change
it's a
with
new
my,
program for you.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, so you guys were on this path one way, and now you've kind of changed paths midstream. And same boyfriend?
yeah, yeah, but not anymore. We broke up over it because he thought I was
Uh,
giving him an ultimatum. He didn't understand, but I know this is something I have to do. And it's a heart change, so
yeah.
trying
What
to
was it?
learn.
Now, this was aligned with your faith. You said you were doing this as part of
Yeah,
your spiritual life.
yeah,
So did
yeah.
he share that? Does he share your faith with you?
Apparently now he does not. He agrees that with God, but he doesn't share it with. No, he thinks I'm being ridiculous and radical, and uh,
Oh, radical.
so yeah, it's brought up
Uh,
some other.
as far as what?
It definitely brought up some other issues and red flags, but I
Yeah.
want to know in the future how to have a healthy relationship without the aspects of sex
Yeah.
until marriage.
Well, you know what? It's really, this is such a I don't know what to call it. Uh, it's sort of an enlightening issue, I think, that that you've discovered, because what you said was it was covering up a lot of other things, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons I think that God designed it this way is that it's really, sex is so powerful, and it's so, it's such a, you know powerful, important, deep, big part of life, that
Mhm.
it's very possible for sex, if you've got this like space of what a relationship is, and you've got all this stuff, like you've got your dreams and your values and your feelings and your desires and your all of this stuff and conflicts and all of that. There's an old phrase, you can just take all your conflicts to the bedroom, right? It's a medicine in a way. It's like it can be like a drug that becomes the whole relationship, and you're not talking about other stuff that's very important. And people start dating, and sex is such a big part of their relationship that they're not developing the relationship and the other skills and the other aspects of life that it's
True.
going to take to make that relationship last forever, which is the way it's designed to do. Because sex is going to kind of run its course, and or it can't be the only paddle in the boat. I mean, you're talking about a relationship, and the canoe's got a lot of paddles, and you can't ask one paddle to move the whole thing down the road for 60 years. It's not going to do it. And so, one of the good things about in a dating relationship reserving sex is you're making sure that all the rest of the capacities in a relationship, the skills and the values and the desires of where you're headed and building a life, and other kinds of impulse control, financial controls, all of that is moving towards this time where you finally have a culmination and sort of jump off the diving board with each other for life.
Mhm.
So it's a good thing because what you found was as soon as sex was gone, what was left? And he exited.
Yeah.
I would want to
Right.
know that. I'd want to know that long before. So,
Right. It's my
uh,
fault.
yeah, and if somebody loves you and they love all of who you are, then they can respect your boundaries. And so, what I would
Yeah.
do is, and I'm not saying you can't necessarily go out with people that have different values, but you can certainly say, that's not my value. You know, I'm
Okay.
not going to do that. And then they are either going to respect that and hopefully share that because ultimately, sounds like you're on a spiritual
Yeah.
path. And one of the things that the Bible talks about, and that just research shows, that, when people have these issues in life that are, have you ever read my book, How to Get a Date Worth Keeping?
No, I will though.
Okay, get it. Get it because it talks about this very issue that that if there are certain issues in life, whether you like Italian food and he likes Mexican food, that's not life altering, right? But there are a
Right.
handful of issues in life that when you become one, okay, and your life becomes one, there's a handful of issues in life that actually are direction changers. So you can be going in the same
Mhm.
direction, like different kinds of food, like different kinds of sports, like, you can have different tastes, you can have different strengths and abilities. But if one of you wants to put career ahead of family and the other wants family, those are direction setters and it's going to pull you
Mhm.
apart. If one of you wants to have children and the other does, those are life direction setters. If one of you has a
Mhm.
certain faith and the other has a different faith, then those are life direction setters. And those things have got to be talked about. And so that's why I
Gotcha.
think Paul, for example, says, don't be unequally yoked. And what that means is, a yoke is two oxen that are working the field and they're tied together because they're going to go in the same direction. So in your dating life,
Okay.
I want you to date all kinds of people because you got to learn, what you like and don't like, this and the other. The book will talk about that. But you don't want to give your heart and your life and your body to somebody that ultimately you're not going to be going in the same direction with. I think the faith is a big